So guys, I'm coming into Osoyoos pretty soon, but this is still part of what we register and understand as desert country. And as this video goes on here, just for a couple of minutes, I believe we're going to come around a couple of bends where you're going to see drastic tree differences. Basically what I want to say before we lose these trees on that mountainside that we've gotten to watch for the last 30 seconds, that in the last, I would say, between 10 to 20 years ago, that this whole area, I guess here, yeah, has just sprouted up like this. And, you know, I haven't put a study into it to check out all the information on it. I'm on highway number 3 outside of Manning Park going towards Osoyoos. O-S-O-Y. And I've driven this road many times, been on this road maybe 100 times, maybe more, thought about lots and dreamt about living here and this and, you know, looking for animals, looking for information, just did what I did. One thing that I just said on video recently is my brother moved up to this area a number of years ago and has popped around in the different desert communities, really searching for his favorite spot in some respects. And I think Osoyoos was up there as one of his favorite spots. And the reason in part for that is because he also loves the look of the desert. He doesn't superly enjoy the look of that green mountain. That mountain that in a couple of years more, or another 10 years, we won't see any of the mountain. Is that bad? No, it's not. It's just peculiar. Okay, there's something weird going on, why these guys have gone and done so much growth in these areas. Now, if we've gone in this last 10 years in this little bit of an area where trees don't have a reputation, there's a certain amount of gambling when you plant trees around here from past history. And now the trees have figured out a new way of still having that same history of weather systems and so on and so forth. Similar approximately, some cases way different, but then it's popped way back the other way and so on and so forth. Well, it's the weather system hasn't been in any ways drastic changes enough to allow this evolution of trees to go on. Like, we really don't get big in planting on cliffs and such like that for a tree to take a hold. And there's a lot of cliffs that we're seeing here, and that's partly why I'm saying that. Is for a tree to take hold, it's work. You know, he's got to work, grow himself in around stuff. You know, especially on this stuff, you see a lot of rock there, don't you? There's not a lot of dirt ingredient. But those guys, that's one of the big things about that, is we got to come back to that the change in the composting, these beings are behind it. They're, for whatever reason, I think this is evidence of wanting to compost up this area a lot, so it's going to start changing more. So, but it doesn't mean it won't continue to be able to put out apples and all the fruits that it does, but the weather system will probably change in a big way because of how much more moisture every year is starting to be able to be held into the ground and kept here in lieu of the trees. These are mostly pine. These are like a type of pine tree that is a very hardy tree that does well without water. And when you get them in near water, they just pound out the life. Also with this type of tree, they're an example I seen back there, one of the best examples yet of debarking. They experiment with all of those things that I talk about on the channel of different things that are going on. In many cases, especially when it comes to tree growth and different growth plants and stuff that you might see they're mucking about, they what was I going to say? That they'll still experiment. So it's, in some respects, it's like they're still searching for answers, or in part they're in this thing where they just know these answers and they're exploding things. But if you really did understand them, that ridge way we're looking at right up there tells me, every tree tells me they've worked on it. I can look at them, I can see it. There's probably some of my viewers that are coming along on those degrees with that and starting to realize, like, look at that taller one right there. It has the beauty that we used to wish for. It's not quite there, but the beauty of an African tree, sort of. And I used to admire the African trees in part because of some of the looks, how they do those toppers on them and stuff, and then all of a sudden the branches are all toppers and stuff. Well, that look is coming over here into and setting into many of our trees, and the reason is because they've done it there too. They're doing it here now. Why? How are they related? What's it all about? When are they going to stop? Are they really taking us? Are they really taking women and children? Are they all kind? Are they coming out of the closet of no more fear, no more hiding? A lot of people are registering that they're around, you know. There's just a lot of questions. I tell you, they're farmers of earth. They're into gravel, they're into trees, they're into shaping lakes and rivers and changing them around, and they're into road destruction on ours, like picking at them and taking the rocks out and picking at the asphalt. They're into bridge destruction, where they'll be picking at the bridges. They're into these banks where it's really interesting to see clumps of grass so much in the growth of things. We're in a desert country that kind of can make sense with that clump of grass system. But once you start watching and paying attention to places that have been planted fully of grass or something, and then that grass slowly becomes clumps of grass where patches are taken away and such like that. And all these trees along here where you can tell right now in this time of the year is a great time to see they all got beautiful little tops on them. Most of us don't even see a tree out there without a top, you know. But if you would have been here about 5 months ago, you probably would have seen a lot of topless going on and wondering what's going on. But when you really look at these and stuff, you know, the people who are starting to recognize the views, they are realizing also that is a glorious view, just to be able to understand the toppers of all these trees. See the twistiness in them and stuff like that? That isn't because this is a weird windy area. That's because they've been broken, and maybe a branch that was in the already in the sucker system a long ways, months growing already being cultivated to be the top replacement. Then they take out the top 3 feet, and all of a sudden that branch is on its way up to pointing upwards, and then eventually as it grows, they take off that hub of where the growth deformation is there. Dry throat, I was trying to hold on. And they can create it looking that it was all just original top tree from the branch turned into top tree in looks and everything. With a matter of probably, I don't know, 2 years, they can probably do it and make them disappear into the tree and make it look like it's just a tree. Maybe, and it's the way the tree will grow and stuff, and they're receptive to training the tree and stuff. You know, maybe it's a little more than 2 years, but for sure 4 years, no problem. Many species. Yep, so if you're a cliffer at all, just start watching the cliffers. And you'll start realizing that, hey, they do change a lot of shape. Where are those rocks coming from? How come they're all coming down? Blah, blah, blah. And then you'll start maybe even noticing in cases where the cliff's coming down or the banks like that are coming down and stuff, but you're not seeing the ingredients being left below. You know, sometimes you'll look at a bank like that and you'll see a great big rock bulge out. And next time you come by, because it's kind of like a sandy gravel and it's round stone or something, and that big rock is no longer bulged out and it's not even in the ditch at the bottom. Did the highways really stop just for that? So on and so forth. So peace out, Tin Man style.